Right. So today I want to talk about rare and magic monsters. Overall, rares and magics have been a part of RPGs and ARPGs for a really long time. And today I want to focus on rare monsters in modern day ARPGs and to bring into discussion the mistakes that I think every single popular ARPG does when designing rares. I will be focusing on PoE, although most of this, if not all of this information, um, does apply to other ARPGs as well. Okay, none of them do rares very good. So rares are special versions of normal monsters, often tougher and deadlier, and for the most part, they distinguish themselves from normal size through appearance, color, size, outline, and names. And, most importantly, through randomly generated modifiers such as extra damage, all sorts of auras, extra life, and generally just stat bonuses. The point of rare monsters is to somewhat break the monotony of farming, is to provide moments from time to time where you have to use your brain for a second, keep yourself mentally checked in. They also provide, to a certain degree, a dopamine boost. Most RPGs tend to make rare monsters significantly more rewarding than normal versions. This provides trickled loot, which, among other deliberate design decisions, keep you hooked into the gameplay loop. Now, for the longest time, the main difference between rare and normal monsters has just been stat increases, and that's it. And for the longest time, stats were enough to satisfy the developers and the players' needs. But as ARPGs have evolved, players have gotten stronger, better, faster, and game mechanics have gotten deeper. Back in 2013, when PoE officially launched, you could get away with bosses having one attack and rares just being stat sticks. But as years passed, having a zombie with like 3 extra stats just did not make for interesting gameplay. The developers at GGG knew something had to be done. They wanted to do something. They wanted to bring interesting gameplay to the genre, visceral combat, something which they have been talking about since PoE's release. So they started trying to make fights more interesting. But without reworking huge parts of the game, they needed to somehow add stuff to rares to keep them engaging. This is why volatiles and other on-death effects have been a part of the game for a long, long time. That is how they decided to make fighting more interesting. And back in the day when they added volatiles was they started walking on the path of making monster modifiers strong and just leaving base monster design boring and weak. And so we fast forward to 317, Siege of the Atlas, which is not that long ago. And we get 2 new pinnacle bosses. We get a new Atlas mechanic, aka the current Watchstone system, a new influence system, the Eldritch Implicence we currently have, and we also get an Atlas-wide passive tree. Everyone loves it, right? Setting aside nostalgia from the olden days of juggling Elder and Shaper influence and removing maps from the Atlas, 317 was by far the most hyped I have ever been about anything PoE 1 related, ever. It was amazing. It set out to fix issues with influence gear, endgame watchstone progression, which was the worst. We had to get like 32 watchstones and then 16, I believe. It was I did not enjoy PoE endgame back in the day on in that particular period. Also, endgame overall, it expanded upon endgame overall, and it expanded upon the very primitive, at the time, very primitive Atlas passive skill tree. Because we used to have it for different regions of the Atlas. We used to have like 8 different smaller passive trees, and they expanded upon that. Anyway, it was really good. It was really good, but it also brought along a little league mechanic called Arch Nemesis, and it was similar to Metamorph, except it focused on rare monsters. You would kill rare monsters with special modifiers, collect said modifier. Actually, I have a picture of this. So you would kill rare monsters with special modifiers, collect said modifiers, and combine them with others to make even more unique modifiers, and so on and so forth. It was honestly pretty fun, if a little clunky. Here we can see a bunch of these modifiers. We have all of the gray ones are base modifiers. You combine like three of them, two of them, sometimes even, yeah, no, sometimes more. You combine them to get another modifier, and then the tier 2 modifiers, they all do something different. All of these do something different, right? Like the baselines are just stat increases, but the rare ones, they do something. Like they give regen. I guess they're kind of also just stats, but whatever. They all do something, right? And then you combine tier 2s to get tier 3s. These are even more interesting. We can see Trickster over here. If you remember that, we have Trickster now. Temporal Bubble, I think everyone knows that. Soul Eater, although Soul Eater was in the game before, but I think everyone knows these, right? Um, Everyone recognizes some of these. Yeah, anyway, you combine tier 3s to make tier 4s, and then you can even combine tier 4s to make tier 5, right? Um, and putting all of these together, you get an interesting fight. If you put a tier 5 modifier and then a tier 3 modifier and then, sorry, then a tier 4 modifier, and then you put stuff like, I don't know which one was it. I think Trickster, for example, split the monster into multiple, and every part could drop loot. You could get like some insane combos, right? This it was honestly pretty fun, if a little clunky. Now, the issue with Arch Nemesis was not the league itself, not even the modifiers within the league. You see, after the league ended, GGG made a little decision that would haunt the game for the next year or so. They decided to keep Arch Nemesis in the game, not as a separate league mechanic. No, with 3.18, they decided to integrate a lot of these modifiers from the league into the rare mod pool and just rework it. The intention was good. They wanted to even further distinguish fighting rare monsters from other types of monsters. They also wanted to make fighting rare monsters more interesting, more engaging, and rewarding. Anyways, this move was still, to say the least, risky. You see, one of the main driving factors for Arch Nemesis was that you would choose what your rare monster fight would look like, and the modifiers you chose to use would also determine the loot that you would get. There was a lot of interesting combos you could do, again. But upon being introduced to the core game, almost all of this got removed. None of the interesting stuff that you could do was possible anymore. Very, very limited interaction. Some rares still had like loot conversions. You would randomly kill a monster and get like 15 flasks, or you kill an innocent stash monster and you drop like 5 divines. But either way, Arch Nemesis, the way they implemented it in 3.18, spawned some of the most cancerous rarity calling behavior we've ever seen. Like you would find a monster, you would find an innocence touch monster, you would not kill it, and then you would call in an MF cooler to come kill your monster to get the loot. It's this is not okay, right? This is not okay. Also, a lot of modifiers were way overtuned. Way overtuned. A lot of stuff was removed. A lot of the fun stuff was removed. A lot of the stuff that added was just overstat. So pretty much all of the community was pissed off. Nobody liked this. Pretty much across the board, nobody liked this. Even people that saw potential in this, which it had potential, the system had potential, but even people that saw potential in it didn't like it because it was just not done properly. Couple this with, the fact that we got no balance changes for 318, and you get a recipe for disaster. We had emergency nerfs to rare mods. The mods themselves were nerfed, I think, more than once. We had Outrage. We had this fiasco of Arch Nemesis in the game for like a year. GGG like doubled, tripled down, quadrupled down on Arch Nemesis, and they just created very big tensions between the community and the dev team. This is also coincidentally when most of the rare modifiers that we see today got added. Stuff like Mana Siphoner, I think, was added here, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of the just overall, monster modifier putting some garbage on the ground that you have to dodge got added in this particular patch, right? Um, and it's just we're essentially caught up now. Like they added this, they removed it, but they kept a lot of the bullshit, a lot of the I put on the ground some random garbage that you have to dodge. So where's the problem, right? Like, we're in today's day and age. What is the issue today with rares? Well, you see, GGG wanted to make fighting rares different from normal monsters, and after a year-long fiasco, they did. But the rare monsters we have in the game right now are just really bad for PoE 1 and PoE 2. Fighting rare monsters doesn't feel good. It just feels like fighting the mods on the monster instead of the actual base monster itself. At, at their core, the monsters themselves are just as boring as their normal versions. The only difference is that they put random shit on the ground for you to dodge. That is it. The biggest issue I have with fighting rares is that it feels the same across all monster types. There is almost no difference between a human rare and a wolf rare, or any other rare, or almost any other rare, as a matter of fact. It just boils down to don't sit in the garbage. Don't sit in the volatiles, don't sit in the mana siphoner, don't sit near him if he's an executioner, don't sit, that's it. It might feel like fighting a rare might feel different compared to a normal, but fighting two different rares a lot of the time feels the same. In order to fix this, monsters need to be vastly different from each other. They need to have vastly different capabilities. And rares or rare versions need to make you switch up the way you play the game, not by throwing 20 different, like, copy-pasted abilities at you, but by being different in their design and having different traits. Let me show you an example. So I popped into Dead Cells. This is a zombie. He charges at you, he swipes at you, and that's it. He's the most basic enemy. You find him from the get-go, and he's just not very interesting. But that's fine, because you need some of these monsters. Let's move on. This is an Oven Knight. He has a shield, and is very slow. So his mobility is pretty bad. If I try to hit his shield, he'll just try to parry, right? See? Now, the way you approach this guy is you either hit him from behind, because he does not have a shield, or you can break his shield and then fight him. If you do that, he becomes this very fast guy that swipes in front and behind. So he can get you, if you're not careful, he can get you even if you dash behind him. Because of his differences, I approach this monster differently. Not because he puts mods at me, No, because the monster itself is different. Let me show you another one. This is, I think, a spiky or whatever. He has spikes on his back. So, as you can see, sometimes he just tries to bait you into attack him from behind. If you do that, you will take damage. He also rolls at you. There you go. I took damage. Let's do another one. This is a slasher. He's very fast. And he charges at you. If he hits you, he does not stop from attacking, as you can see. So the way you approach this guy is you have to attack him. You have to also be aggressive against the slasher. Let's see another one. I think this is a failed experiment. I'm not sure. Whatever. This guy is very fast. He attacks very fast. You can see. He's very aggressive. He jumps after you and he's tanky. These are a few examples. In my mind, the perfect ARPG has like 100 different rares. Actually, let me put back on that cell zero. In my mind, the perfect ARPG has like 100 different rares that all utilize the game's mechanics in an interesting way and make you play differently. Not because all of them throw mods at you, no, but because they behave differently. They interact with your skills in interesting ways. There is some of this in PoE too, but not enough and not well designed. I don't believe that by removing random mods on I don't believe that removing random mods on rares needs to happen. But I also believe that the first and foremost the devs should focus on making base monsters, the monsters themselves, feel interesting to fight and add on top rare mods. Also, there should be a hierarchy of monsters. Vanilla zombies should not be rares. They will never be interesting to fight. The PoE2 does a little bit of this to my knowledge, but not enough. The game also needs to allow the players to have different tools in their kit, to allow the players to choose how they build their character in order to deal with different situations. Varying values in mechanics, in monsters' abilities, stuff like block, poise, breach, stuns, freezes, parries, resistances, their skills, their health, just all of this, their move speed, allow monsters to behave differently on a mechanical level, but also be abused differently based on their weaknesses, on their mechanical weaknesses. This is what makes for good combat. This is what creates skill expression and visceral in-depth combat. You don't want to go too overboard either. You still need a lot of chaff monsters because you want that power fantasy, you want that power trip. And for that, random zombies, random wolves, and just monsters that do nothing but auto attack, it's fine, they're fine. But if you want to create cool rare fights, you need to do more than just don't sit in the volatiles, don't sit in the essence mobs. Essences in PoE2 are the worst, okay? They're the best example of this. They just throw random shit at you and that's it. So essences are the worst. Anyway, some attempts towards this style of gameplay that I've shown in this footage here have been made with PoE2. There is some of it, but not enough. I believe rares can be improved upon in PoE 1 and 2. Now, I don't think they're ever gonna do it in PoE 1, but I'm hoping that they will in PoE 2. But there needs to be serious changes in how they design monsters themselves. Thanks for watching.